Over to you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, your audio is mute.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Raman and Kanai Prabhu, for inviting me on this wonderful forum of very exalted devotees discussing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta. In fact, it's actually a great privilege to be in such wonderful association, especially to speak of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Personally, I do not have any qualification to do that. It's only by the force of the devotees who are empowering, so that I could try and share a few thoughts, though it could be very childish. I request you to kindly forgive me for any offenses or inadequacies. I will simply try to repeat what I'm trying to read from the verses and the purports of Srila Prabhupada. So hopefully that would make a difference in the way how we would perceive the aspect about Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his wonderful pastimes. Here in the picture, we see a blissful Sankirtana movement, a public revolutionary activity initiated by the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And this is not an ordinary activity or a mundane activity. It's a complete transcendental activity where the Lord, in his full ecstasy, is demonstrating his innermost desire, which is...
Prabhuji, if you don't mind, can you please increase the volume? It is very, very low.
Sure. Are you able to hear me now better? Is that better?
Yes. Yeah, it's better.
Thank you. Thank you. I should have probably asked you whether I'm audible in the first place. Thank you so much. So what we see here is such kind of a revolutionary activity by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who involved the entire public and who involved and made this a Sarvajanika program, in the sense where everybody could participate in the society. And especially in the Kali Yuga, this is a very, very powerful way of worshipping the Supreme Lord and getting his causeless mercy in a very, very short time, and where everybody can participate and make this happen. So as I go through this, I would like to share with you what we would be discussing in today's section. Probably in the last few sessions you would have discussed from the 16th chapter, which was discussing about the Lord's childhood pastimes, and especially his activities in his Kaishora Leela, and concluding with Keshava Kashmiri's deliverance. And I was requested to speak from the 17th chapter, wherein Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his youth has performed many wonderful activities. I have specifically chosen to cover a section which discusses about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's discussion with Chand Kazi. And that would be from the verses 121.
Prabhuji, it is a little better, but we need some more volume, Prabhuji, if you don't mind.
Well, I need to shout now. I'm already up into my full volume. I've set my mic. It also could be possible that there may be some internet issues that also could possibly happen. Anyway, those who are not able to hear me directly from their speakerphones can probably use their headphones. That could make it a little better, if that sounds better as well. So I would like to speak today from chapter 17 of Adilila, text 121 to 226, but I may not be able to cover the entire 100 verses or plus. So what I would be doing is between 121 up to 171, that's about 50 verses, and we'll try to cover some of the aspects of what this pastime is all going to discuss about. So I would like to begin with a small Mangalacharan prayers, and so then we would go ahead furthermore. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha नमा ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभयश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे आजानुलंबित भुजौ कनकावदातौ संकीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, there's a very wonderful verse which talks about, is also in the Chaitanya Bhagavata, if I'm not wrong, which says, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichar Vichara Karite Chitte Pabe Chamatkar. If you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it by strikingly wonderful. So thereby, I offer my respects and would like to request all the Vaishnavas to bless as we discuss the beautiful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Katanchana smrute yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrute viparitam syat Sri Chaitanyam namamitam. So saying, Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. In this chapter 17, which is the concluding part of the Adilila, pastimes of the Lord, the very beginning of the verse explains the purpose of this particular chapter, which also can be discussed as the paribhasha, in the sense, the essence of the discussions. Basically, the chapter can be categorized into two significant pastimes, especially the sections which we are discussing. The pastimes of Chand Kazi and those pastimes which happened at the Srivas Angan. The pastimes that happened at Chand Kazi is basically to deliver the population who have indifference or they are disposed indifferently towards the Lord or his glories or about the association of such wonderful devotees. How the Lord is extremely merciful upon them, and even they can be delivered by his pastimes or his activities. And very importantly to state, his mercy is across all in the society without any kind of a consideration of caste, creed, or color or religion. And thereby, the very first verse in this chapter speaks, Vande Svairabhuteham Tam Chaitanyam Yat Prasadataha Yavana Sumanayante Krishna Nama Prajalpaka. So even someone who is Yavanaya, he becomes Sumanayante. He becomes delivered with his very beautiful disposition, Sumana. Mana becomes Su, means auspicious, and Mana also becomes Sumana, which means like a flower, which can be offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. How does that actually happen? Krishna Nama Prajalpaka. As one discusses or one hears Krishna Nama. So the purpose of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as started by himself, is Chaitanyam Yat Prasadataha. By his causeless mercy, he started this beautiful Sankirtana Yajna, or that by which everyone in this world can become delivered. That's what we see in these pastimes. So I will again go back in a brief to share with you the screen wherein the different sections of this particular topic will be discussed. As we see here in the, I hope all of you are able to see the screen. So we would be discussing first about this pastimes here, wherein Chand Kazi does an offense. He breaks the Mridanga and bans the Sankirtana movement within the Navadvip area. Chand Kazi himself was a proxy ruler of the erstwhile king, Khilji, at the time in the West Bengal. And between the verses 131 to 151, Lord Sankirtana's party reaches the Kazi's house, and wherein Kazi hides himself, unable to come to face the angry mood of the Lord. And then he presents himself to be like a nephew, or his relationship with the Lord. And therefore, he requests the Lord to tolerate his offense. By the time he already understands that the Lord is not an ordinary personality through his different intelligent agents. Then between 150 to 171, we will see the discussion of the Lord's conversation with Kazi, especially speaking about killing the cows. And there is a discussion that goes on by Shastric injunctions quoted by Kazi, referring to Vedas, and the Lord also speaking about the same section and discussing as to how it should actually be understood. And later on, in the same section, Lord very jokingly talks to Kazi and tells him, now that you have understood, and I see that you are not stopping the Sankirtana, can you share with us what is the reason? Though you are very inimical in the initial stage, why is that you are not stopping? And thereby the secret of Lord Narasimhadeva appearing within the Navadvip Dham and in the dream of Chand Kazi becomes revealed within the Chaitanya Charitamrta. And we might not be probably discussing that part of the Leela today, but we will try to discuss up to the cow killing discussions in today's section. So how I would like to do this is by reading the verses, first the translations in English in those respective sections, and then afterwards going through the Bengali verses itself, which is very, very nectarian. So maybe a combination of reading the verses and the translations can help as we go by. So I will try to make that attempt. And wherever necessary, we will take the references from the purports. Hope that would be fine with all of you.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I would read from the verse and the translation, beginning from verse number 121 in Chaitanya Charitamrta Adilila. Just give me a minute, please. I hope you're seeing my screen shared with you.
Yes, Prabhu.
As I go through, I also need to see your faces, so I'm adjusting the screen to see you side by side. So please bear with me. Somehow in Zoom, there's always been a little tricky. So the occasion happens that after performing different kinds of pastimes, which is enlisted in this chapter, at one occasion, Lord Chaitanya, along with his associates, came to the banks of Ganga on one of the evenings, and there they perform the evening snana, and then they all dispose themselves to their respective places. From there, this activity begins. Ye mata nritya hoy ilachari prahar, sandhyaya Ganga snana kari sabe gela ghar. In this way, they danced continuously for 12 hours, and in the evening, they all took a bath in the Ganges and then returned to their homes. So I might request one of the devotees to help me in keeping my time schedules, but I don't cross the limit. So remind me about 10 minutes before the closure, what is scheduled according to your program.
Bhavata and Mataji, please take the service.
Okay,
So sometimes we might be in ecstasy in reading and not knowing about the time. Kala is Krishna's another power, and everything is regulated, including devotional activities. So then, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He requested all his members to join this beautiful movement that he started. Nagariya loke prabhu yabe agna dila, ghore ghore sankirtana karite lagila. Then he ordered all the citizens of Navadvipa to chant the Krishna mantra, and in each and every home they began performing Sankirtana regularly. And what was their Sankirtan? What did they do? This is very interesting also. They did this beautiful Sankirtan. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Hari Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. In this way, they were all very much engrossed constantly in chanting the Lord and his wonderful pastimes. So Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encouraged these activities to continuously go on. Then, how was this beautiful kirtan began? There were tumultuous sound emanating from every home, and the whole of Navadvipa was reverberating with mridanga, kartala, and sankirtana. So naturally, in the whole neighborhood, there was so much of sound on all the days. And normally this happens whenever devotees assemble, they don't let the worldly people to enjoy the worldly peace. Rather, they give them the taste of the spiritual bliss by engaging in Krishna consciousness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the same thing to happen in Navadvipa. And then, Mridanga Karatala Sankirtana Mahadvani Hori Hori Dvani Vina Anya Nahi Suni. When the Sankirtana movement that started, no one in the Navadvipa could hear any sound other than the words Hari Hari, Hari Hari, and beating the mridanga and clashing of handbells. Shuniye krudha hoila sakala yavan. Kaji pase asi sabe kaila nivedan. So they naturally became very much disturbed. Who? The Yavanas. And then they went to the Kaji and lodged a complaint. And then what happened there? Krodas sandhya kale kaji eka ghore aila mrudanga bhangiya loke kohite lagiya. So he came to one of the homes and this he saw the people being engaged in chanting and engaged in Sankirtan. He became extremely angry. Krode. And then as he passed to one of the houses, he saw mridangas. So he took it and he simply destroyed it. And that's how he started to warn the people in public. Eta kale kohe nahi koila hindu yani ebe ye udyama chalao karabala jani. If you do this one more, it's not so good for you. For so long you did not follow the regulatory principles of the Hindu religion, but now you are following them with great enthusiasm. May I know why, whose strength you are doing so? He wanted to inquire. Who ordered you to do so? Keha kirtana na koriha sakala nagare aji ami kshama kori yaite chon gare. No one should perform Sankirtan on the streets of city. Today I am excusing the offense and returning home. Ara yadi kirtana korite laga paimu sarvasva dandiya tara jate ilaimu. The next time I see someone performing such Sankirtan, I shall certainly chastise him by not only confiscating all his property, but also converting him into a Muslim. So this is normally the case when there are inimical forces acting. They do not see the purpose, but rather they try to destroy it. And they disconnect the unfortunate living entities to really actually become very fortunate by connecting themselves to Krishna. And in this way, these evil forces act even today. Eta bali kaji gela nagariya loka prabhustani nivedila pana bada shoka. So all other devotees, therefore, they became very, very anxious. And then they went and expressed their grief to the Lord Mahaprabhu. After seeing this, the Kaji returned home, and the devotees, greatly shocked that they were forbidden to chant Hare Krishna, submitted their grief to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhu Adilila yaha karaha kirtan muni samahire muaji sakala yavan. Lord Chaitanya ordered, go, perform Sankirtana today. I shall kill all the Muslims. That's how Krishna roared. Ghore giya sabaloka karaye kirtan kajira bhaye swachanda nahe chamati kaman. Returning home, all the citizens began performing Sankirtana. But because of the order of the Kazi, they were not carefree, but always full of anxiety. Sabharantare bhai Prabhu mane jani kohite logila loke shigrada kiani. Understanding their anxiety within the people's mind, the Lord called them together and spoke to them as follows. So the first ever social revolutionary movement was started in the Kali Yuga by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not very long ago, just 500 years back. And what was the purpose? To please Krishna. So any activity which is taken to make the whole society involved must be only centered around Krishna. And only such activities actually bring in all auspiciousness. Nagare nagare aji karimu kirtan sandhya kale kara sabhe nagara mandan. So the activity of the Sankirtana Yagya, the movement of where everybody in the society can be involved, and that was the intention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore I shall perform Sankirtana in each and every town. Therefore you should all decorate the city in the evening. So why not? Wherever there is an activity of Krishna Sankirtan, it should be in the most auspicious and the most glorious ways. That is why Srila Prabhupada also made the Sankirtan movement go public. And therefore the activities also should be made so attractive to the people. So when we distribute books, when we decorate the whole place and also the streets with so many nice Vaishnavas with all their wonderful instruments begin this kirtan. Sandhyate duite sabhe jwala ghare ghare deka kona kaji asi more mona kare. So he made a public challenge. Let me see which is the Kazi who's going to come and stop us. And I will see to the end of this guy. And that's how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encouraged. In the evening, burning torchlights in every home, I shall give protection to everyone. Let us see what kind of Kazi comes to stop our kirtan. What an inspiration would that have been drawn in the minds of all those at the time. Especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being a very young youth, prime in his youth. And so naturally, he was very tall, very attractive. And his words were so pleasing and very, very revolutionary. Even the oldest man would just jump up and then say, yes, I'm there for the kirtan. So does it happen the same in your congregation also? When there is a congregation chanting goes on, all of you will also say, yes, we are there, isn't it? Yeta kohi sandhya kale chale gaura rai kirtanera kaila prabhu tina sampradai. In the evening, Lord Gaurasundara went out and formed 3 parties to perform Sankirtan. So not only just inviting and not only just assembling, he had a plan. Any such kind of a social movement must have a plan. And this plan is the Lord's plan. So no one can go against that plan. So what was the plan? He put right in front of everyone Haridas Thakur. 2 reasons. First of all, he's a great devotee of the Lord, empowered personality. And also he was a Yavana by his birth. So to appease those who are opposing this movement, Haridas Thakur was an example both in his humility and also in his wisdom. So anyone who would come into his association would naturally become encouraged to chant the holy names of Krishna. And the second party was led by Advaita Acharya, who is none other than Mahavishnu, Shakti Swarupa of the Lord, and who was also Sadashiva's partial incarnation. So Sadashiva or Lord Shiva as such is so powerful. Any evil forces can be destructed by him. So he put in the Sankirtana movement these 2 personalities right in the front. And that was Advaita Acharya in the middle of the group. And then he himself led at the very end to show that everyone has to finally come to him to taste the aswadana of the Premamrita. So Harinama Sankirtana, in whichever stage one actually takes it, either simply to chant or to seek protection or to finally come to the shelter of the tasting of the nectarian purpose, that's all possible. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the awarder of such wonderful benedictions. Aage sampradaya nritya kore haridas madhya nache ashraya ghosh acharya goshani parama ullas. How do they do? Nritya kore haridas. Haridas is dancing. And then Acharya Gosai nache. So these 2 people have different styles of dance. So that's also an important thing. Each of them are empowered separately. Haridasa dances because he is Lord Brahma. And Mahavishnu dances because he is the plenary expansion of Krishna. So you can see a Jiva Tattva's response to Krishna's call and the Vishnu Tattva's response to the Lord's call. And thereby there is a difference. And that's why Kaviraj Goswami mentions the way how they actually danced to attract different kinds of living entities. So some are attracted by Brahma's dance in the form of Haridasa, and the others need to be pushed into, which is by the power of Mahavishnu. So that's how these 2 different personalities are performing the dance. Then, Pache Sampradaya Nritya Kore Gaura Chandra Tanra Sange Nachi Bhule Prabhu Nityananda. So further empowerment is coming from Nityananda. So Gauraraya or Gaurachandra himself is dancing in ecstasy, and Prabhu Nityananda giving causeless mercy for everybody to take part in this Sankirtan. So it was a proper plan for deliverance. Whoever would have been in that great association of that Nagara Sankirtana movement would all become fully empowered. Lord Gaurachandra himself danced in the rear party, and Nityananda Prabhu moved with Lord Chaitanya's dancing. Vrindavana Dasa Iha Chaitanya Mangale Vistari Varini Prabhu Krupa Bhale. So Kaviraj Goswami explained the way how the formation was according to Vrindavan Das Thakura's Chaitanya Mangala, in which this was more elaborately expressed, including different personalities' names and how they were moving, what they were chanting, and it was all very much empowered, enthusiastic movement that went on. Yehi mata kirtana kori nagare brahmila Brahmite Brahmite Sabe Kajidware Gela. So in this way, the whole town was empowered to assemble, and from every home they picked up different devotees, and with blazing torches they went to the home of Kaji. Tarja Garja Kore Loka Kore Kolahal Gaurachandra Bale Loka Prasaraya Pagal. So murmuring in anger and making a roaring sound, the people, under the protection of Lord Chaitanya, became mad through such indulgence. So they started to say this, naturally when devotees assemble and when there is such kind of a wonderful kirtan going on, people do talk, people do describe. And here what were they were doing? Tarja Garja Kore Loka. So Tarja means discussion, different kinds of tarka. And Garja, loudly chanting, loudly making sounds. In this way, they did kolahala. When the whole place is becoming very, very chaotic. And someone were very angry. How could he stop us? What does he think of himself? Does he not understand who Lord Chaitanya is? All of these kind of different arguments were placed. And that's how they started to go. It's like a mob influence. Kirtanore dhvanite kaji lukaila ghore. Garjana Garjana Suni Nahoya Bahire. So this whole tumultuous sound created a big amount of fear within the heart of Chandkazi. First of all, the crowd, a mob psychology affected him, and therefore he became very, very fearful. Lukaila Ghore, he just tried to hide himself within his home. Already the mob has reached right at his gate. They were about to gate crash. So realizing that if these people would be allowed inside his home, they would actually smash his head. So he just went and hid himself. Then what happened? Udatta loka bhange kajira ghora pushpavan vistari varnila iha dase vrindavan. So again, Vrindavan Das Thakura has explained this, how they all assembled and they went into the Pushpavana, the garden right in front of his courtyard, and there they assembled and they took their respective places in different groups led by their different leads as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had ordered them. So naturally some of the people who were very much agitated began to retaliate the Qazi's actions by wrecking his house and flower garden. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described in this incident. So they did not just keep quiet, they also started to retaliate because one Mridanga was broken by Qazi, so they decided to break his whole home. That's how the mob reacts actually here. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tara Dware Vasila Bhavya Loka Pataya Kajire Bulaila. So thereafterwards, he understood the mood and therefore he sent some of his men to go and bring the Kaji out. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his own plan, how he is going to talk and how is he going to make the whole scene become more meaningful. So what did he do? Thereafter, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reached the Qazi's house, he sat down by the doorway and sent some respectable persons to call for the Qazi. Durai haite gaila Qazi mata noy Qazi reva Srila Prabhu samana Korea. When the Qazi came, his head bowed down, the Lord gave him proper respect and a seat. So he's also showing whenever you want to discuss with someone in a very peaceful manner, first of all, be respectful, whoever he is. However inimical he may be, however opposing he may be, but you need to present yourself in a very respectable manner. So these are some of the characteristics which the Lord presented in his behavior. Prabhu Balentum Amitomar Ailamu Abhagyata Ami Deki Luka Ila Ye Dharma Ker Mata. Why did you go and hide yourself when I have come to your home? Is this the way how you receive your guest? That was his way of saying it to him. Ami Tomara Ailama Abhyagata. I'm your guest at your home and you go and hide. Ye dharma ke mata? How is that going to be the kind of way how you treat your people? So I have come to your house as your guest, but upon seeing me, you hid yourself in your room. What kind of etiquette is this? Kaji kohe tumi aisa kruda hoiha tumara shanta korite rahinu lukaiya. What can I do? Kaji kohe tumi aisa kruda hoy. You came here with great anger, and look at your mob who is behind you. So because of that, I wanted to pacify you. Once you become pacified, then I would come. So I just hid myself. That was how he put his argument. Ebi tumi santa hoila asi mililan bhagya mora toma hena atiti pailan. So I am very happy and fortunate that I have you as my guest. And once that you are pacified, now I can begin to talk to you. So first of all, whenever you want to discuss, even when there is a need for you to become angry, still you should not show your anger. That's what we learn from this lesson of interaction. Grama sambandhe chakravarti haya mora chacha deha sambandhe hoite haya grama sambandha sancha. So the first way to make a peace, whenever there is a disturbance, strike a relationship. So Chand Kazi was a scholar and he knew how to start negotiations because the whole aspect was to negotiate a peaceful settlement. So what did he do? First of all, he said that if I talk about this whole village to which I am the Kazi and you're all the members of this society, your grandfather, Nilambara Chakravarti, is in relation with respect to this whole town, he's like an uncle for everyone. And thereby your mother becomes my sister and so you become my nephew. So in this way he first started to strike a relationship. Did you ever strike a relationship like this with any one of you? Some of you maybe at your office, some of you maybe at your neighborhood. So you learn from here. Look for relationship. Even if you don't have it. My Siksha Guru, His Grace Shugakar Krishna Prabhu, used to always make a relationship. I had a personal interaction with one of this incident that happened. I happened to be in his home, and after a small meeting, we all were coming down. He was holding a full pack of sweets in his hand. As we entered the lift there, in that lift, there were about 4 or 5 different local Arabis and another 3 or 4 Filipinos. So immediately what His Grace Shukaka Prabhu did was open this sweet box what he had. And to the Arabis, he started to speak in Arabic and say that this is my birthday today, please take it. And to the Filipinos, he started to speak in their own language and say that this is the best sweet ever you would have had in his whole life. Take it. So the moment they all ate their sweet, then he said, there is only one small thing that I request you all to do. And that is a good wishes that you can do is chant along with me, Hare Krishna. All this happened within the 2 minutes of our taking the lift from his 22nd floor coming down to the ground floor. Everybody ate Krishna Prasadam and everybody chanted Hare Krishna. Look at the way how he struck a relationship and he made it all possible. So this is how we need to do, and this is the lesson that we understand. So somehow this relationship was established. Nilambara Chakravarti hoy tomara nana se sambandhe hoy tumi hamara bhagina. So that's how here we see Chand Kazi making this relationship with the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so that he doesn't become angry and the whole negotiation doesn't go waste. Bhaginara Krodha Mama Avashya Sahai Matulera Aparadha Bhagina Lai. When a nephew is very angry, his maternal uncle is tolerant. And when the maternal uncle commits an offense, the nephew does not take it very seriously. So he made it a very jovial manner. Ei mata dunhar khatha haya thare tore bitarera artha keha bujite na pore. So others who were watching and witnesses, they did not understand what was actually going on. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this home of Kaji and Kaji is now striking a relationship. what exactly is the marma was not known. In this way, the Qazi and the Lord talked with each other with various indications. Prabhu kahe prashna lagi, aila matumar stane, Kaji kahe agna kara, ye tumar mone. The Lord said, my dear uncle, I have come to your home just to ask you some questions. What is that? Prabhu kahe godhugda kao, ghabi tomar mata, prusha anna upajay, tate teno pita. He makes a very important philosophical statement directly and puts him. He came there to make peace so that he doesn't stop Sankirtan. But what did he talk over there? He did not ask him, why did you stop the Sankirtan? That he will ask later. First, he tries to strike a relationship to tell that the movement, what he has started, is a very genuine movement. And you do not understand here because you are committing offenses. So those who actually don't commit offenses who are the ones who can actually take up to Krishna Nama. Thereby, he's preparing him to get himself rid of the offenses and there appreciate how powerful is the holy names of Krishna. For that, he's taking the Shastric way of bringing him to realize this whole purpose. So he brings in a relationship of this way. You drink cow's milk, therefore the cow is your mother. And the bull produces grains, your maintenance, therefore he is your father. That's the logic. Pita mata mari kao, eva kon dharma, kon bale kara tumi, ye mata vikarma. Since the bull and the cow are your father and mother, how can you kill and eat them? What kind of religious principle is this? On what strength are you so daring that you commit such sinful activities? Kaji kohe tomari aiche Veda Puran, taiche amara Shastra Ketava Quran. So Kaji replied, oh, you are talking from the scriptures. I also have the scripture, Quran, and it definitely justifies this. And not only that, even in your own Shastra, Kaji is saying, that also justifies this. How is that? Sei Shastra ko hai pravruti nivrutti marg vedha nivrutti marge jiva matra vadhira nisheda. Your Shastras also talk of two things, of pravruti and nivrutti. Only in the nivrutti marga, there is a injunction not to kill the cows, but in pravrutti marga, we can do it. That's how the Vedic injunction gives the permission. That was Qazi's statement. Pravrutti marge govadha korite vidhi hai shastra agnaya vada kaile nahi papa bhai. So if you do that according to the Shastras in the pravrutti marg, then there is no fear of the scriptures. So what is wrong in doing that? That's how he started to put his statement in a very intelligent manner. Tomara vedete ache govadera vani ataiva govada kore bada bada muni. So even your great personalities, they have also taken shelter of the same injunctions and they have also killed the cows. So what's that big statement that you are trying to put in front of me now? Prabhu kahe vada kahe govada nished ataiva hindu matra na kare govadva. So no. Probably you are mistaken. None of the Hindus actually perform any kind of govadha because it is a completely forbidden activity, especially in this age of Kali. So the statement that Lord made was the Vedas clearly enjoin that cows should not be killed. Therefore, every Hindu, whoever he may be, avoids including in cow killing. Jiyeta pare yadi tabe maramo prani Veda Purane achehena agna vani. In the Vedas and Puranas, there are injunctions declaring that if one can revive a living being, one can kill it for experimental purposes. So this was basically given as an injunction just simply to test the power of the Brahmanas who were practicing Vedic injunctions. And so it is not
Krishna
permitted.
Prabhu. I'm sorry. It's 8:50, Prabhu. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I hope I should be able to do the rest of this verses. So please bless me. Thank you. So in the Vedas and the Puranas, there are injunctions declaring that if one can revive a living being, then it can be done. Atayeva jarat gava mare muni gana Veda mantra siddha kare tahara jivana. So therefore the great sages sometimes killed old cows and chanting the hymns, they brought them back to life for perfection. Jarat gava hana huyuva hayara vara Tate tara vadana he haya upakara. Actually, it is a rejuvenation. So there are prohibitions and there is rejuvenation. That is the purpose why the cow killing was done previously. But Kali Kale Tache Shakti Nahi Ka Brahmane Atha Eva Govada Kaiha Nakare Khane. Therefore, in the Kali Kala, there is complete prohibition since the Brahmanas are not powerful and they cannot rejuvenate the old cows or that which is offered into the sacrifice. So, cow killing is completely prohibited in this times of the Kali Yuga. Ashwamedam Gavalambham Sanyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Sutotpattim Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. So these 5 activities are completely prohibited. Ashwamedam, that is horse sacrifices, Gavalambam, cow sacrifices, Sanyasam, the renunciation, Palapaitrikam, to offer meat during the sacrifices, Devarena, that is in the wife of a brother's, younger brother's wife's womb, one should not create progeny. So these are all Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. These are all prohibited. So in the previous ages, they were permitted for certain purposes according to the injunctions. But in Kali, they are completely prohibited. Tomara jiyete nara vadha matra sar naraka hoite tumar nahi ka nistar. So the way how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu negotiated was Samadana Veda Danda. So 4 types of methodology that is normally used in negotiations are used. First, Sama, by trying to give him some understanding of how to understand a particular point. So he initiated, what about cow killing? Why are you doing this cow killing? When the counter arguments came by from the Pratipaksha, then he started to tell the philosophical understanding by describing the different kinds of Veda. Then after this, he's going to talk about what's going to be the danda if you try to do it. So one of the aspects of Veda is to create fear. That's what exactly he's doing, that you will go to hell if you practice doing this. Since you Muslims cannot bring killed cows back to life, you are responsible for killing them. Therefore, you're going to go to hell. There is no way for your deliverance. This was the fear aspect of it. Goange yataloma tata sahasra vatsar govadi rava madhye pachi nirantar. So the cow killers are condemned to rot in hellish life for as many thousands of years as there are hairs, loma, in the body of the cow. Tomasa bara shastra karta seha branta hoila najani shastrera marma aiche Adilila. So those who have actually concocted your shastras, not knowing the purpose, have actually bewildered all of you. Branta hoila. And therefore they do not know the shastra marma, the purpose behind the shastric injunctions. Sunistabda. Now the reaction of Kaji, having Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving this wonderful conclusive statements with the reason, he now reacts. How is his reaction? It's mentioned in this way. Sunistabdha kaila kaji nahi spure vani vichariya kahi kaji parabhava mani. After hearing these statements by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Kazi, his arguments stunned, stabdha, could not put forward any more words. Thus, after due consideration, the Kaji accepted defeat and spoke as follows. So how did he put himself in front of him? Tumi ye kohila pandita sei satya hai adhunika amar shastra vichara sahanai. My dear Nimai Pandita, what you have said is all true. Our scriptures have developed only recently, and they are certainly not logical and philosophical. A scripture must have nyaya, logical, and philosophical tattva. So if there is no tattva and there is no nyaya, such shastras are only bhranta, simply bewildering. Kalpita amara shastra ami saba jani. This is a complete confession. Jati anurode tabu se shastra mani. Kalpita amara shastra ami saba jani. I know that this is all complete kalpita, means which has been concocted, jati anurode, just because to keep the jativada or the society of us, we are taking it as a shastra. I know that our scriptures are full of imagination and mistaken ideas, but yet because I'm a Muslim, I accept them for the sake of my community, despite their insufficient support. Sahaja Yavana Shastre Ardha Vichar Adruda. It is not Ardha, it is Adruda. Sahaja Yavana Shastre Adruda Vichar Hasita He Mahaprabhu Puchena Aravar. So the Lord simply laughed at Kaji. For what purpose? Because he did not have any conviction on his own Shastra, which he was trying to put forward as an argument, as a support. The reasoning and the arguments in the scriptures of the meat eaters are not very sound. The Kaji concluded. Upon hearing this statement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and inquired from him as follows. What did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? And what further transforms into the whole pastimes? A very, very quick glance. Ara eka prashna kori suna tumi mama. Now he is trying to call him as mama, taunting him. Ari eka prashna kari suni tumi mama. Yathartha kohi be chale na vanchi be ama. And now don't try to present anything more without proper conviction. Can you tell me what exactly is the question of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Tomara nagare hai sada sankirtan vadya gita kolahala sangita nirtan. So he came to the point of presenting what he wanted finally. Tomara nagara hai sada sankirtan vadya gita kolahala sangita nirtan. So in your town, there will always be Nagara Sankirtan, Sada Hoya Nagara Sankirtan. And it is how? Vadya, with instruments, Kolahala, with so much of tumultuous sound, Gita, with all singing around, and Sangita, not only one singing, there will be a complete communal singing. Everyone as a community would sing. And not only just that, we are going to dance. That means we are going to march into the whole town with great amount of what you thought is a nuisance is actually a spiritual ecstasy, expression of spiritual ecstasy. So this is what is going to happen in your town now, isn't it? So, Tumi Kaji Hindu Dharma Virode Adhikari Ebayana Koramana Bujite na Pori. So why is that? Now you are not opposing it. So now there is something that is actually very mystical. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you know that our Sankirtan goes on like this, but now I see that you are not opposing. Why you are not opposing? So it's like challenging him. After taunting him, is asking him in a very taunted manner. Why is that you're not doing it? As a Muslim magistrate, you have the right to oppose the performance of the Hindu ceremonies. But now you do not forbid them. I cannot understand the reason why. How can Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not understand? He is the Paramatma. He is the all-knower. But he wants this Kaji to confess why he does not oppose it now anymore. So how does Kaji confess now? Does he do this publicly? Kaji bale sabatomai bale Gaura Hari. Oh yes, Gaura Hari, I'm going to say everything to you. I'm going to explain everything to you. Sei name amitomai sambodhana kori. So now I'm going to address you, not as my nephew, Bhagina. I'm going to address you as Gaura Hari. So, and I'm going to express everything to you. Suna Gaura Hariye Prashnera Karan Nibruta ho yadi tabe kori nivedan. I'm going to express to you all that you had asked me, but only when all those who are around you must be kept away. I want to speak to you in private. So we always say Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considers his whole team as his own. So then Prabhu says, Prabhu bhale ye lokamar antaranga hai Sputa kori kaha tumi, na kori ha bhai. So they're all my antaranga. They're exactly like myself. So without any kind of a fear, you please express what you wanted to say. So once this was told, then what exactly happened and what did Kazi reveal to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a very mystical thing. So we will reveal this mystery at an appropriate occasion. May that be still a mystery for all of us for the time being. Thank you. So that's the pastime I would like to share with you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Wonderful, amazing. It's all, you said that Lord pastimes are described in various scriptures, but the mysteries behind these pastimes are very nectarian and very confidential. And by your mercy, these mysteries are being opened to our ignorant eyes. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Amazing, wonderful. Request all the devotees if they have any questions, comments. There are many devotees who all know you very well, Prabhu, in Mathura-desh Yatra. Somehow or other connected to you at different occasions. They're all very eager to have your mercy. Sankarshan Prabhu would like to.
Yeah, Prabhuji, we are very fortunate to have his guest Ramakrishna Prabhu. In fact, he's a person I grew from his lab. So seeing him itself, is enlivening for me. I mean, charging to me, and listening to Chaitanya Caritamrta from his lotus mouth is definitely a fortune for all of us. Thankful, very, very much thankful to Ramakrishna Prabhu. Thanks a lot, Prabhuji. But we'll not leave you here. We'll definitely would like to release more and more from you again and again, Prabhuji.
Now you cannot escape, Prabhu. You cannot escape from clutches of devotees. Devotees' affection.
Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhuji, actually, this group, the devotees attending this study group every Saturday, they are from different parts of the world. It's not just only from Mathura-desh. We have from different parts of the world, India, Krishna Katha Desh, and some from UAE and some from UK. So different parts of the world, we're all connecting every week and just trying to need your mercy upon us so that we continue this journey of relishing Lord Chaitanya Prabhu's pastimes.
Jai, you're all doing a great service, and it's a wonderful austerity of trying to immerse in the nectarian discourses and relishing the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. This is all really wonderful. May Lord Gauranga immensely bless each one of you and individually bless you so that his wonderful mysteries are revealed within your heart. And that's a desire. And even the spiritual masters bless their disciples so that they get this nectarian blessings from the Supreme Lord. May your wonderful endeavor become fully fruitful and successful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think devotees wanted. Nityananda Prabhu, I have some questions, comments. Anybody else have questions? Please raise hands because Prabhuji has back-to-back other session. Another 24 minutes. We all have Bhakti Vibhav session. Prabhu is going to take us through that session also. Some of the members attending this program are attending Prabhuji's Bhakti Vibhav. We have a few more minutes. Prabhuji need to take a break also. Nityananda Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam. It was a really amazing session, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I have a series of questions, Prabhu, but in 2 minutes, whatever you can cover, balance, I will be in touch with you. Yeah. Prabhu, here in one of the sloka, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that I shall kill the yam. How this Lord can say that? Because we see even in the current, in India also, there is always fight between H and M, and how we can fix this one. Okay, Lord is Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can say, but on how as and also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we are not these bodies, we are the souls. So this is something I'm not able to.
Not only a fight between H and M, we have fight within H, within fight within D's also. Within the devotees also we have problem.
You rightly covered, Prabhu. Yeah, I want, so all the three questions, it is one question, Prabhu. So in 2 minutes, kindly enlighten.
As long as individually we think that I am Yam, the master, or I am the D, the devotee, or someone thinking I am H, the Hari, then all these problems do come. But rather, one should understand that I am actually HMD. Simply understanding that I am the devotee of the master of the Hari. So once who understands that, then all the problems will be automatically solved. So we have to accept that our master is Hari, and we have to accept that the devotee is our master. When we accept that, then all these problems become resolved. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't kill anyone. He is the most munificent. Namo Mahavadanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishnaya. Krishna Chaitanya Namne. Gauratvashe Namaha. So such a personality cannot kill, but he is certainly going to kill the mentality. So it's a bodily identification that I'm a Muslim or a Hindu or so and so. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very intelligent to say, I'm going to kill all the Muslims, means those who have misidentified themselves. You are actually my servant, Jivara Swarup Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. So you have falsely identified yourself to be as a Muslim or whoever. So that false identification is going to be killed by coming into Krishna consciousness. And that must be killed. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conclusions are.
Very spontaneous, son, Prabhu. HMD, wonderful, wonderful realization, wonderful practical application. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Ritesh Prabhu, for raising this point.
Prabhu, if you permit this committing offenses, even, okay, leave about others, within the, even after becoming devotees also they commit the offenses. How this can be addressed?
Devotees are of various kinds. Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. So, and there are Kanishta, Madhyama, and Kanishta Uttama also. So based upon their level of consciousness, they can actually become gradually elevated. So what is that elevation? Elevation depends upon the kind of an association one takes. So one who really wants to advance must take association of the advanced devotees. One who does not take the advantage of an advanced associate, then naturally his progress is also stunted. And even one can actually, any devotee in whatever level of advancement he is, he can only bring it to only up to his level. He cannot push someone beyond his own level. So there's a very wonderful understanding for this. Even during the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time and later in the Goswami's time, there were many acharyas who would initiate their disciples, but then they would not themselves give them the siksha. They would give them and tell them that you go and take the siksha from such and such a Goswami. Thereby, they become adequately empowered from the tattva and the rasa. And thereafterwards, they can actually practice Krishna consciousness in an appropriate manner. So thereby in our society, we have many Siksha Gurus. We may have our respective Diksha Gurus, but we must associate with the Siksha Gurus who are actually giving great amount of knowledge. So one should not simply restrict himself only to primarily become confined only to Diksha Guru's instructions. Though it is very, very empowering, he must also enlarge his understanding through various Siksha Gurus under the guidance of a Diksha Guru. It should be the Diksha Guru who should actually tell you that, okay, you can go and take the Siksha from so-and-so when you are inclined to do. So without Siksha, the Diksha also cannot be become fully, manifested. Harinama itself is good enough for one to become delivered, provided that Harinama is taken with its complete conviction and understanding. Thereby, we need proper Siksha. And that, once you do it, offenses can be removed.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for enlightening.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for your wonderful assembly of such nice associates over here. Yes, some of them I know, and some of them I know them very dearly as my mothers who have been blessing me in various events and empowering me. So I offer my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of my mothers, because only by taking shelter at their lotus feet, I can actually try to make some small progress. And also my masters who are sitting over here, even their blessings are very much needed. So naturally, I call you all M and M, so that you can please bless, so that I can try to become a D in your association. D means to become your dear. So I don't have qualification to become a devotee, but at least I can try to become your dear. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Upasthita Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Grantaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta ki jai, Vidaya Gaur Sitanata Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. My special love to my dear son Shankarshan Chaitanya, and my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of Ramanand Kanai Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So amazing, wonderful session, and we're all fortunate to have your association today. We look forward, as Sankash Prabhu was rightly pointed, that we look forward to have your association again and again, approach your lotus feet. I know you are very busy, though we have back-to-back programs. You are very kind enough to accept our request, and so we take advantage of your merciful attitude and keep disturbing you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Hari Bol.
So next week we'll continue to hear the pastimes from Her Grace Bhavutani Mataji. So Mataji will continue the session next week. So this will conclude the session here.